What is up, my loves? Welcome back to another episode of the Fully Alive podcast. And man, oh man, do I have a juicy episode for you today. So in this episode, I sit down with one of my nearest, dearest friends, Laura Patricia Martin, who is a phenomenal relationship coach and somebody who I met in early 2022, not early 2022, late 2022, in a mastermind. And it was essentially, you could call it love at first sight. And ever since then, we've had the most wonderful, incredible, and deep friendship. And we do this series that started on her podcast called Unplugged, where we basically just have a girl chat. And we have a different topic for each one. And we get to bounce off of each other, projector to projector, and really dive into what goes on behind closed doors within the high achiever mind. Her and I connected originally because we both have very intense minds, that beautiful high achiever self that can go in all these different directions. And we created this podcast as a way to really peel back the curtain on what her and I even go through within our own lives, and to just be really real and fun and goofy. And so in this specific episode of Unplugged, we dive into an entire tell-all of 2023. Her and I grill each other for the lessons, the blessings, the challenges, the miracles, and everything in between, and really reflect on what it is that 2023 has brought. It's goofy, it's silly, it's fun, it's deep. I hope you enjoy. Grab your drink, whether it's a tea, a coffee, a glass of wine. Nobody's judging, whatever time of day it is, and either take this on a walk or maybe you listen to it as you clean the house. But without further ado, we are going to head in to the podcast episode.
Hi, welcome.
You have missed my singing. That's singing. And Laura's Texan accent.
And
we're
the
back.
entire hour and a half that we were supposed to record.
We have been trying to record this for, an hour and 22 minutes, almost exactly.
So basically, it's going to be really good because for some reason, a lot of cheeky little universe gods were like, this is so powerful. We're going to make it. Are you committed or are you not? And we showed up.
We said we committed.
We're committed. And so we're here. And we're probably a little delusional because it's late.
I honestly think this is a manifestation of our resistance, because for those of you who are tuning in, what we're going to be doing tonight is we are doing 2023 Unwrapped. We are doing 2023 Truth All, Tell All. So essentially, Laura and I, we do this podcast. We do Unplugged. Y'all know if you've tuned in before. And Laura texted me a couple of weeks ago and she said, Stef, when are we going to do Unplugged? And I said, after I get better, because I was sick. And then we were talking about topics. And I was like, how about we do something absolutely unhinged and interview each other on 2023? Ba-dum-bum.
I'm sweating.
And I think we've both been resisting this because we both prepared questions and done our research to prepare these questions, because we both know all of the ins and outs of 2023 of each other, all the secrets, the ups, the downs, everything. We literally FaceTime each other every other day almost. We know it. And therefore can ask the questions. And we'll see how this goes. How are you feeling?
I'm good. My nipples are just sweating, but it's fine.
Just a little
bit. No, I'm actually really excited because I love when people ask me about me. So
same. Meet projector.
Oh, I kind of love it.
It's so funny because I have friends who are like not projectors, and like a lot of the time when we're catching up, they'll just talk about themselves and they'll be like, Steph, what about you? I'm like, I don't know. Ask me questions.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, that was yesterday with date night with the man. I was like, let's play questions. I'm really Googling them. And I was like, I already asked you half of these. You know, and he's like, how is that possible? That was from a deck of cards. I was like, my brain just works that way. Because then I'm asking you questions simply so you can ask me the question back.
Right back. Right. But then
I want you to ask me this question.
I'm going to ask this because secretly I just want to.
I want you to ask me.
Have you guys tried the and? Of course I have.
This,
no. On my desk. This is
what is that?
The and, or it's theskindeep.com.
Ooh.
Incredible question sets Nolan and I have used these for years. They have like long-term couples dating self. This is a self edition. And so many questions. And we literally will take these on dates together. Like we don't leave it up to our brains to figure out like the tough questions. Like these question cards really they pull.
I literally just pulled it up. Yeah, because some of them, like, we were Pinteresting them last night, and I was like, these are just kind of, like, lame. Like,
No,
they're
these are
funny.
juicy.
And then, like, we started playing one night, the one with Esther Perel, like, Where It Begins. And that was nice. But then I got to the sex parts, and he's like, I don't want to know this about you. And I was like, but I want to tell you. He was like, I don't care. I don't want to know. And I'm like, loser.
Loser. No, the Skin Deep, they like have ones that are intimate and about your sex life, but not, you know, like going into all the history and things like that.
Got
Like,
it. Yeah, the one that he called quits on was like, what was the most memorable, or like, oh, what was the worst cotilingus, or however the fuck you say that word? Like,
no.
what was the
No, man,
worst, like, morning after? Like, what was the worst after cleanup, basically? Like, what happened after the sex? And he goes, yeah, no. And I was like, but I have a really funny one. His mom made me breakfast. He's like, but, I mean, I didn't say that part. I respected the fact that he didn't want to know, but I was like, I just really want to tell you about this one time.
Yeah.
We never got there, and I don't think we ever
Why
will.
is it that women want to know? I'm like, tell me.
I want to know all of it. Like, I'm like, all of it.
Experiences
Yeah, because I'm gonna top it. What's the fuck? Watch me do gymnastic on that dick. Like, what's the...
You know I'm better, right?
Yeah, I'm like, challenge fucking accepted. What's up? Like, let's go. Where they're like, we don't want to know that you're not a virgin.
Like, you are pristine, and I am the only person that you have ever dated or ever had sex.
It's so funny now, like, now knowing more about men, where like I watch it, because before, like, I wouldn't, because I thought their brains worked the same way, like competition meets competition. And now I'm like very careful with like the things I say, and I'm like,
because it's respect.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want you to think, because I'm not that. They're funny.
It's like we talk about that as girls.
Yeah, I was like, I'll tell a girlfriend about it to get it out of my system. Or the podcast. Don't listen.
Hello. Gotta get it out somehow. So, anyways,
yeah,
let's get into these questions. So,
okay.
How do we want to do this? We'll go one for one.
Yeah.
Let's do one for one. You'll start, I'll go. We'll go back and forth, and we'll just kind of see where this leads. What happens though if we want to be asked the question back, or we want to ask the question? That makes sense?
No.
Let's just go.
So I was like looking off to the left. I'm like, huh?
No, that was a horribly worded question.
You just say me too. Ask me now.
Yeah.
Okay. Should I go first?
Let's do rock, paper, scissors.
Okay. Ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Paper.
Okay, you
win. We didn't say what is. Does that mean I ask first?
Well, which one? Well, you get to choose. Do you want to be asked, or do you want me to ask?
I want to ask. No, I want to be asked.
Okay.
Oh God.
These aren't that bad. I just like to hype you up because I feel like it makes you nervous.
Great.
I'm in the hot. Ooh. Y'all ask that one first. You had a huge surrender multiple times within your identity and who you know yourself to be and what you've walked yourself through and how you claim yourself in the world, like how you would describe yourself. And that has shifted big time. Not even shifted, it expanded and added more to it. And, you know, we've had really big conversations on the back end about this that I think are also beneficial, but I kind of just want to bring that forward of what has been your biggest lesson in shifting, in that big shift of your identity this year?
Yes. I love you, and I love that question. I can already feel like emotion coming to the surface.
Yeah.
So if there are tears, there might be tears. But
yeah,
I would say that the biggest reframe. Tell me what was the last question that you asked, so I make sure I answer that. Do you remember?
No. Basically, just like, what is the biggest lesson that you've learned through this identity shift that you've had?
that the minute that you surrender the exact identity that you cling to is the minute when more love opens up. Like,
Oh,
so
she's
fucking
coming in hot.
deep. So deep. It's so clear that every single time I have clung to a certain identity, and the identity that I've clung to, especially now with my shift, the big life shift of really integrating this last year, is like moving from Denver and living by myself and living in an apartment and having a very solo vision. I call it like a me focused vision. What do I want in this world? What am I creating for myself? What is it that on some level it's integrated with my purpose, but also my ego? You know, and it was very, you know, me focused into moving to Connecticut and reuniting with Nolan and really forming like a we vision. So from me to we, of what do we want together? What does our life look like together? And what are our separate visions and how do they come together and how do we build together? All of that, you know, I was clinging so much to I'm independent and I only do things for myself and I am this boss babe and all of that, as much as I wouldn't have used those words, but looking back, it's basically what it was, into, oh, well, now we're in a much like, we're in a small town in a house where we're thinking about family. We're thinking about the future. We're thinking about the two businesses that we have and how those interact. And we're taking care of a house. And there's so much more to add to my identity than just the independent woman who's got her shit together. You know, there's so much more richness. There is, you know, the potential mother, the potential wife, and we're not there yet. But of course, like my mind just naturally goes there whenever I think about, you know, the future and getting older and things like that. There is, you know, the homemaker. There is the one who is in nature. There's the lover. There is all of these different sides. There's infinitely many, you know, and for me, I started to recognize, oh my gosh, there's more sides to life. Like there are more parts of myself. There's the wild one, you know, like there's so many different sides. So by clinging to this one, I'm basically cutting myself off from a full expression of who I am. And if I know anything, is that the more fully expressed I am, the more that that even feeds into the business and the independent side of myself. And I was terrified to look at those other sides. I was terrified because I was like, well, what does that mean about myself and these dreams that I've clung to so tightly? Also out of survival, because all of that was my identity and how I felt safe in the world. And I was so afraid to look at these other parts of myself that wanted to be expressed, the slower, the softer, the more loving, the more interdependent instead of independent, and afraid of what that meant for myself. And that I feel like was the biggest ego death of this entire year, you know, was like letting somebody else in, letting greater possibilities in. You know, for a long time, I had lost touch with my desire to have a family at all. And this year that came back, you know, not that it's happening anytime soon, but it actually came back as like, oh, there's space for that. And it was in the complete surrender of, God, I actually don't know who the fuck am I? You know, like, who am I? Show me, you know, show me that I feel more of myself than I have before. But you saw me through it. Like, it was an intense ego death. Even though it's like, of course, on the outside, you could look at that and be like, oh, well, Steph, like, you're creating it all. Like, you have it all. But you never realize, like, the ego death that it takes to get to that place of integrating it all. You know? So what I'm taking with me moving forward is every single time I'm so afraid of letting something go is the exact moment that I get to let that side of myself die, to be reborn into something new. And really, it's just through discomfort, you know? There's so much more to it, but
it's funny. I wrote down in the thing, like, going from independent to interdependent, and just witnessing you through that. I know it's a continuous journey as well, and it's a continuous expansion, and just seeing that growth into not just you focused in how to grow your business and how your life is, but also how can I be a better woman to my man to support his business and support his vision and support us and our future family. And like, that takes a lot of growing up and a lot of surrendering. And it's just been really powerful to witness you walk through that.
Yeah, thank you. Also, I love you. I love you because you've seen all the different sides of it. And it's so funny how God's always going to point you in the direction of your greatest growth and the greatest richness of your life if you would just surrender what you think needs to happen for that to occur, you know? And in the interdependence, there's so much more love that's available. There's so much more collaboration. There's so much more like actually letting someone in. A huge point in Nolan and I's relationship is he felt like he couldn't support me, whether that was supporting me and giving love or like, looking at our visions or providing a house and like being in that role. Like he felt like he could never do that. And this year, I feel like has really taught me how to soften and be supported and still understand how to have my own sovereignty in being supported and letting somebody else in, like being the woman who receives, which is still uncomfortable for me. I will never claim to have all that figured out or even everything that I'm talking about figured out. I think it's all a work in progress, but I'm starting to see that, to receive and to be supported and also then to support in the world and just all of it all together. It's been so beautiful.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love you. Love that.
Oh, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. My first question for you, of many, is do you think that this year and everything that you've seen this entire year, the changes, the deaths, and the triumphs that you've been through, do you think it's been more of a truth year or a dare year? And why?
What a good question.
I can't take full ownership because I did gain inspiration from the Skin Deep.
I love that. Truth or a dare? Is it like, how do I want to interpret that question? Like I've had to take more risks or I've had to surrender to what is and remember to what the truth is. It's like there's so much of both. Because I took mind-blowing risks this year, but I feel like it was all because I was uncovering the truth. And I had to get rid of all of the things that I thought were me. My family dynamics, relationships, love, what I thought love was, what I found out what love really is, myself, my identity, like all of it, all of the things that I thought would make me safe and I thought would kind of come full circle if I figured something elusive out that I was constantly chasing, and just realizing it was always within me and I couldn't hear it all. I couldn't hear any of it until it was all stripped away and I was on my knees and I didn't think I'd make it. And yeah, I would say it's more of a truth because of all of that, because it was I know I don't share a lot forward facing, but you obviously know it was one of the hardest years. And I did it with good grace because I know everything is for a reason by this point in my life, but it was all things that I thought, like I moved back to America to be with my family. My family is not in my life anymore. I thought I'd be married and kids and moving in with my partner, and my partner broke up with me. I thought I would have these huge financial wins. I was super fucking in debt up until like last month. Like it was all these things of how I was, and to have that, like, I'm clinging to my truth because I'm starting to remember what my truth is. And that is within self. And therefore then I have to dare myself to take big risks that are in line with what my actual truth is.
So beautiful. It's like a both and, like the truth has led you to the dare and the dare has led you back to the truth.
Yeah.
Which has been so beautiful to witness. And I've said this to you before, but to really witness your faith in moments where it feels like things are being stripped away has been an incredible expander for me. And to see how much you trust in that truth of God and of who you know yourself to be, your truth at the end of the day, you know, and your connection with Source has been absolutely phenomenal and beautiful. And it makes a lot of sense where you are right now because of that.
Thank you. Naivety works sometimes. Like a lot of people, they're like,
You've got a
you
little sprinkle of that.
Yeah, they're like, are you sure? Are you okay? And I'm like, it's fine. I don't understand what the problem is. You're like,
I love that part of you.
look around. Did you look around? Or I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Go live.
Moving to Florida,
So,
you're like, this makes no sense.
I sold everything I own. I know absolutely no one here. My family and I are separated, so at the time being, and I don't have any money, but let's fucking go, man.
That was one of those moments where I'm like, I know it's all gonna work out, but holy fucking shit.
Yeah, same.
Like, I know it's gonna work, but I have a guest room if you ever need it.
I know. I think that's what I said to you. I was like, I might be homeless and I might have to come live in. I don't really know.
No, you'll come live in Connecticut naturally. And we
Yeah,
both knew
like,
that wasn't an option.
it's so funny because in my head, it's like I realize I've taken so many risks and like, but it doesn't feel like it. Like it's like one of those things. If I say it in a story, I'm like, wow, that bitch is crazy. But like in my head, and like because like when I'm happy, like for me moving to Florida and like taking the risks or investing X or like just showing up at random fucking events that like I'm here. I definitely make 8 figures, of course. Yeah, I'm fucking here. Like it's just like in these things and like people saying this stuff to me, and I was like, I'm glad you guys think that, but like for sure, thank you for mirroring it back to me. And like the risks on top of risks, because at the time, if I gave myself, I think, enough time to actually think things through, I would have stopped myself from doing them. But I never gave myself time to think about it. I was just like, this is soul alignment. Yeah, because I am, even with heartbreak, even with my family stuff, financial stuff, the health stuff, even like the stuff that was happening with the car, like I was just like, move. Next move, go. Like I'm not here to be in a pity fest. I'm not here to process or hold myself. Like there's some fucking reason God put this within me, and that's thank goodness for like my alignment with God specifically in this last year, because otherwise I probably would have been. But there's always been this thing of like, this is for me. Like there is a plan that is way further beyond my actual concept in this lifetime, that like I'm not here to fucking fight this. Like I'm here to just truly be like, yeah, fucking do what you want with me. Like even if that means you're gonna make me homeless and broke and like heartless, like I don't know if that's your fucking job. I don't know why that would be the fucking mission on this life, but if that is, I'm here. Do what you want with me. And it's something I say to God every day. I'm like, do what you fucking want with me. And sometimes when he does it, I'm like, stop hitting me with cars though, like please. Just like that one, just please keep that, because that's what was happening. That's literally what I was fucking praying about when that accident happened. I was like, okay, do what you want with me, also like bring my ex back, blah blah blah. And it was like poof, and I was like,
so
got it.
She texts me. She goes,
we can't tell the full story though. We can't tell the full story. Yeah, it's not finished yet. So we can't
tell the
legally.
story. Anyways,
one day we'll tell the story, but yeah, I minimized a lot of the things that happened. Obviously,
there were some big shockers.
Yeah,
but
I'll tell the story someday.
So beautiful, just like being the vessel, you know, like really being the vessel and being fully surrendered. And that's what I really honor about you this entire year, is like it really has been hands up, like show me, you know, and your ability to move with those thoughts, you know. And isn't it so funny when you live a life where like to you it all makes sense on some level? Like I remember when I moved from when Nolan and I got back together, and within a month I was moving out to Connecticut to like live with him across the country. I had a friend who she lives more of a traditional lifestyle rather than being in all this personal growth hub job that we're in. And she was like, Steph, isn't that a little impulsive? And I was like, no, not at all. It makes total sense. Like I wouldn't do anything else. She's like, isn't that like it's a little crazy, right? I'm like, absolutely not. You know, because on some level it makes sense to a greater intelligence that's within you, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, 1,000%. You gotta be a little crazy. All the good ones are.
All the good ones are. All insane.
Thank you for that. I love that. That was fun.
This feels like a really fun clearing of the heart.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm
I
glad
feel it.
we stayed on track to keep
Yeah.
going. Ooh, which one do I want to do? We'll stay in high vibes. I mean, they're all high vibe because they've all been stuff, but something that I've really admired about you and witnessing you this year is we came into the year and I remember being in the mastermind and the things, and like perfectionism was like your little chicken nugget brain. It was just like needs to be perfect, like all these kind of things. I've truly loved to witness you doing things your way, where it's like, I'm gonna call in clients this way. Like you experimented with like pushing yourself in a masterclass of like, I'm not going to do the launch thing like in a way, and like I'm going to do it quick and I'm going to like stay in the energy or whatever. But then you just like shifted that pattern, and then if it doesn't feel in alignment, you've been slow to launch certain programs. This camera's got to stop moving. This like I don't know why it's moving. Who's ever watching the video, but you were, you trusted your energy in how to launch things and how to record things and how you wanted things to be. And you haven't been following like the metrics, and you've just been in your way and how you want it to be. And I've really admired that. And just wanting to speak to that, do you feel like, because I know so many of our audience members, right? It's that perfectionism. I can't launch something until it's perfect. I can't do something until I fully know my purpose. I can't, do this thing until it fucking makes sense and I have it look a certain way and I have it all fucking figured out, the nuts, the bolts, the everything. But you have just had so much patience with yourself and understanding and trust with who you are and how you want your business to run versus how the business wants to run you. And that type of understanding of self. How did you get there to trust your inner wisdom to be able to launch and sell and grow and go as you have?
I love you. Thanks for this whole layered question. The first thing, let's see if I can address all of it. It's so interesting because you say, like, noticing me walk through perfectionism. I still feel like I do that every single day, and I never want to sit here and say that I have it all figured out with perfectionism, because I think, I typically say that we'll have like 5 core patterns that we'll just continually walk through our entire lives because that's our soul blueprint. And it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper in the unraveling. And I feel like this year has been, a lot of deep patterns coming to light, specifically this perfectionism. And for me, the biggest, I think, luxury that life has given me this year and that I've listened to was to stop rushing and to release the rush. And I think I started in coaching in my early 20s, and being on social media, there is such a huge part of myself that is constantly in creation. Constantly, before I ever had a business, I was creating business plans on the weekend. Before I ever, was coaching, I was running these like soul circle groups, like groups that I would do for donation, and I'd speak and have topics. There's a part of my DNA that just creates curriculums and teaches, and that part will never go away. However, what I think can sometimes happen, what I notice happen within myself, is that part then gets hooked in by the cute little thing called social media, and the cute little thing called what is everybody else doing, and the cute little thing called this is how it's all supposed to happen, and this is a timeline, and these are everybody else's achievements, and this is what it's supposed to look like. And I think that can be a really powerful motivator and expander. But the flip side and the shadow side that I noticed is it started to cloud my own intuition and my own judgment of like, what is true for me in this moment. The biggest thing that I know that is true for me is that I'll be in this work until I'm 80, at least. I'll be doing this work for my entire life. Like, there is no other truth in my body than that. And so if I know that to be true, and that is my core of like, yeah, I'm in my purpose, and I'm so grateful to have found that young and to know it so deeply. Like, I'm not wavering. I'm not the person who's opening a business and closing it because I tried it. Like, that would never cross my mind. Okay, so if there's no rush in all of this, then yeah, it's like, okay, use the years while you're young, whatever. But why would I do something because it looks right or it's what everybody else is doing if it's not true in my heart, of like what the universe is showing me is the actual next step? And I have a beautiful friend who's a great representation of this. Her name is Tracy. And she is so patient to be shown the next step and shown the next step and shown the next step. And I realized how a lot of my perfectionism was hooking in and being like, you need to do 10 million things that were all driven by my head rather than my true heart. And if I know anything to be true, it's that, when God puts the next step in front of you, it's going to be 10 times more potent than the 10 you tried to take from your head, And I'm like, I would rather wait for that potent step than chase my tail trying to do 10 million different things to keep up with the monkey show of social media and build intentionally over time. Because a lot of, I feel like what has sunk in for me this year is the message of sustainable success. It's like, if you are building a business to be in this until you're 80 years old, not to burn out after you have incredible success, because I've seen that side, how would you do it? Would you be in a rush? Or would you be intentional with your time? And being intentional has taken me out of my head and into my heart. And I feel like that is what has started to release some of that perfectionism, and discerning the difference between what is perfectionism versus what is just having a high caliber for your work, because that will always be there for me. So that was a roundabout way of answering the question, but
I love that. And it's something I truly have admired watching you walk through, because it is, we all struggle with it. There's the metrics, there's the things, there's the keeping up with the Joneses, and just to witness you do it at your own pace, and it works, and it's attractive, and it's magnetic, and it's exactly what you fucking teach. And it's just, I love it so much.
I think it's also, having the belief, and especially because there have been, it's like, I've had videos go viral. I've had, business milestones. I've had those different things. And I know what that feels like in my body, where I'm like, I know that that's at my fingertips. It's the sort of thing of like, I can have what I want when I want it.
Yeah.
So why chase it? You know what I mean? And like, why sabotage your long-term success because you feel like it has to look a certain way right now in the moment?
Yeah. Or just sabotage the actual moment in front of you. Like, you've been very like lifestyle oriented. Here's what's happening, and just more so focusing on your life versus creating the content for the moment in your life. Like, it's been really cool to watch.
And the last thing I'll say in this, and I can go into this in a different question, is like really coming back to the deepest level of fulfillment in my own life of like, if everything went away tomorrow, would I still be happy? In the beginning of this year, I couldn't say yes.
Yeah.
Because my identity was so intertwined with what I do. Now I can wholeheartedly say yes. Yeah. And that's, to me, I'm like, all right, let's fucking go. It's like, okay, we've got that in our body of what that feels like to actually have true fulfillment in life itself, staring at the trees, being with loved ones, being in the garden, like things like that. Like, okay, we can build from this place, because before we didn't know what that was like in life,
Yeah.
Especially starting a business at such a young age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Cool. All right. So on a lighter note, Laura Patricia Martin. The first question is...
This is a two-part question?
Yeah, this is a two-part question. How many men have you been on dates with this year? And what is your most embarrassing date story?
Oh, this is good. I don't know how many men I've been on dates with. Not that it's been that many, but I don't know.
That's enough of an answer.
Yeah, I'm like, enough.
Probably
I've been on enough. No, I've had good luck. I have a good filter system and good luck, but I don't recall how many. But enough to know. Because I never had a dating season, so it was nice that I was, because I'm like a one and done girl, where I'm like, you, me, because people like me, and I like people that like me. So
being magnetic.
I've been, it's like one of the people that like, I've never met anyone like you. I'm like, I know, and then I fall in love with those people. So I was very intentional of the process of like, I know people like me because I love me, therefore I'm going to wait to figure out, do I like you, which means I need more suitors. And so not sure on the number, but it's not wild, but it's enough. Weirdest?
Embarrassing, weirdest, whatever you want to call it.
I'm never embarrassing. I'm the coolest person anyone will ever meet.
Not necessarily saying you.
Let me tell you about this one guy. As I put my chips.
Wait, you're not embarrassing?
No, I'm me. I just constantly live in an embarrassed state. Like, I grew up with a mother that's constantly trying to embarrass me, so I feel like I'm a child. Like, you can't get me down, you know? I embarrass other people by my existence, but I don't see it. So anyways, the weirdest date, or most embarrassing on his part, he introduced me to his mom on the second date. Do you remember that guy? That guy. And we went on a date, which my fault. Didn't take my own advice on this. We went on a date. Also didn't know where we were going because I'm playing this whole like you take me, I follow thing in life. He took me like an hour and a half away, 2 hours to this Blue Lagoon, which meant the date was very long. And I already was getting the ick from him 2 minutes in because he was acting too much. Like, this is a second date. Like, don't be showing up with my favorite coffee the way that I like it, with banana bread and all the kind of things that I love, that I'm just like, thanks, but that's like date 6. Like, calm down. And so we're in the car. I'm getting the ick. He won't stop talking. And we get there and I'm like, this would be so beautiful if literally anyone else. And I do this thing where if I don't like you, I just stop talking. Like, I'm a very chatty person. Like, I'm giggly, I'm playful. Like, I'll jump all over you. Like, I am a kid. If I don't like you, I just forget how to speak. Like, my energy is just like, and so I'm not talking the entire day. Like, I just, nothing, like, I don't know, like, enjoying it. And then we're on the drive home and obviously he can feel my energy. And so he won't stop talking. And I'm like, okay. And then he calls his mom and introduces me to his mom. Like, not his mom called him. He called his mom and then introduced to me on the speakerphone being like, this is the one I was telling you about, Mom, the cool one. And I was like, oh, pickles. Okay. I'm trying to crawl out the window. And then he didn't like when I told him I don't want to go on another date. And he just didn't like it. Boys don't like rejection, apparently. And he just went off, and I ended up having to block him.
Sir, read the room. That was actually really hilarious.
Yeah. I was like,
fun to be on the receiving end of those text messages.
I mean, I thought it was funny. Until he started calling me toxic and insulting my job and all the things. I was like, you don't even know my last name. Please go away. You know nothing about me, but okay. Anyways, yeah, those were fun. I love dating. Dating is so fun. Everyone should do it.
Stories.
I honestly, I wish I had more, but I'm content if I don't have any more for the rest of my life, and I'm just.
I feel like that's a desire. I mean, that's a desire that I have. I'm like, I wish I had more funny stories from dates.
Yeah,
you know, because that season of life is so sweet, and you'll never get it back. Hopefully.
And also, like, I've never had like crazy date stories and things like that, because like that would be like early 20s, and like my early 20s, was just toxic. Like, it was just, but I wasn't going on crazy dates. I was just dating a crazy man. But yeah, so I think back about it, I'm like, I don't have anything. I'm 31. I'm looking for marriage. I'm pretty clear on what I want. Like, it's like, I remember the one date I went on. It was like, it was very last minute. Our conversation was lame, but he saw me at the gym apparently. And this is how people tend to be picking me up lately. They like see me on like Hinge or something, and then they see me at the gym, and then they message me about seeing me at the gym. And I'm like, yeah, you saw what you liked, but you weren't messaging me on the app. So it's not how this works. But yes, you can pay for my oysters. Meet me out. And he met me out, and we were taking a bet on some shit. And then he goes, whoever wins gets a shot. And I like looked at him. I was like, I'm 31 and it's a Tuesday. It's like, and I just looking at my own, we could be friends. And he goes, I've never been friend zoned so fast. And I was like, and I think I said that where I was like, 31, it's a Tuesday. Like, I think we're just two very different people, sir.
That's funny.
Yeah, like that's as crazy as it gets, kids. Like there's nothing too wild up in here.
I love it.
Yeah. Yes, that's it. I wish I did like fun ones for you. Let me think if I can think one off the top of my head.
Ooh.
What's your favorite hobby that you've picked up? I'm I'm thinking an answer in my head.
Because I was literally just telling you about our weekend plans and how she goes, "What'd you do this weekend?" I go, so we picked out our Christmas tree and we went to the hardware store and we got
Mind you, Steph is living my dream
and
right now.
we
This is what
painted
I
a
want.
credenza and we decorated the house for Christmas and we made soup and that was our weekend and we watched Christmas movies.
I love it.
So you could say I'm living a different pace of life right now. Best hobby, my favorite hobby.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the answer for you.
I'm so curious what you're thinking about. Crying with trees.
Oh, we do that anyways. That's what we bonded over. That's not new.
That's not a new one. Looking at the house and imagining what we could do with it, like
No.
home projects.
No. I mean, it has to do with home projects.
It has to do with it.
Yeah. Old
And
projects. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't claim it as like a full-on hobby,
Yeah.
but it's been something that I've been like pleasantly surprised with. And this is where it's like, y'all, whole identity shift. It's like this woman. I used to go out. I used to go to all the cute little bougie restaurants and then go to the mountains and go to concerts and like live that life on the weekends. And now it's much different.
I love it.
And I really do love it. I would honestly say like I've been opened to just like new activities. Like this week or not this weekend, this summer we planted a garden, which we're excited to do next year. I want to have a chicken coop. You know, like I love doing house projects. They're so fun. Although, you know, for us it's a challenge to always like find the time and carve out the time. So we end up hiring some of it out and decorating the house and sitting in the garden and looking at how beautiful it is.
Love it.
You know, that's like honestly what we do. Going to the farmer's market. I would say that's like actually, let me give you a good answer for this. One of the I wouldn't necessarily call this a hobby, but something that I have so deeply appreciated is how well we get to know the people that we buy from in this area. Of like living in a small town where, you know, Nolan runs a business in this town. And so therefore, when he goes to the farmers markets, he makes it a point to get to know every single person that he buys from. And every week he feels a responsibility to show up there. And when we go and buy our Christmas tree, we get to talk to the person and they're basically like our neighbor, you know, and like it's just this really beautiful community and like giving and receiving and all of that that I've really never experienced any place else that I've ever lived, you know, and that's been beautiful.
I love that. I love that so much.
So, okay, so back to the deep conversations. I've got quite a few. I'll ask you this one. How has your definition of success shifted this year? And then how has your definition of love shifted this year?
They both have.
Yeah.
Tremendously.
Really big.
Success is so different for me. Like, I still want a fuck ton of money. Like, it's just I am a man and a money magnet. So my astrology and Gene Keys and everything says, like, I still want it, but not from a place of this will define me and this will make me happy, because I had all the money, I had the love, I had the things, whatever, and like I still didn't feel adequate. Where now I feel like my success, I'm looking for, this camera's gotta stop. I'm looking for, you know, just freedom, like freedom of time, freedom to have the luxury of what I want to spend money on. Like, yes, I do want to go stay at 5-star resorts and all this time, but like I hit the highest financial goal that I had all month. And it was like, I just want to go camping and play with baby goats, like by myself, without my phone, like no Wi-Fi, no nothing. And like that to me is a luxury. Success is consistency. Like that to me is really important. Like, do I know what's coming in every month and can I feel safe? safety, consistency, freedom. Those would be my biggest things. I would have to noodle on this. I feel like that's not the right answer that I want to give,
I
but
feel
that's
like
what's
there's
coming in.
something deeper for you.
Yeah.
I can
I'm
feel
like,
another layer. Who knows? Maybe I'll.
yeah. Damn, it just landed.
Hmm.
Success for me has been looking out of myself this entire time. How can I earn enough money to get the respect of the people around me? How can I earn enough money to earn the love of the people around me? How can I earn enough money to get my dad to love me back? How can I earn enough money to get that part of my life back? And I've really had to let that die this year. The people around me, they're not going to validate what success is for me. It has to be good enough for me, which is why my marketing has been so big. Why, like, if I look at previous years, like, my marketing is so big, so out there. So look at me focus versus how much depth can I actually bring to the programs I create? How much depth can I bring to my content? How much depth can I bring to my community and self? And instead of, oh, look at me, validate me, it's really transformed into, how authentic is this for me? And do I feel my heart in my work? And is this actually for the betterment of you and your transformation? Or is this so you can validate that, like, someone loved me? And so that has really, really shifted in this last year. And I believe why my business has done what it's done in the last month specifically, but because I've stopped looking at and stopped trying to chase someone telling me like I'm good enough and like being like, good job, child. It's just like, no, I know that was good because I literally gave it my all.
Yeah.
And it feels really good to do that.
I gave it my all. I
Yeah.
love that. So
And
beautiful.
then for love, same thing. Really like people pleasing. And I can look back at past relationships and I wouldn't say at the time I felt performative, but if I look back at it now, it wasn't fully me. Like, I walked away from each of those relationships being regretting, like, my biggest remorse was like, you didn't even get to know me.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't get to know this. You didn't get to know my authority. You didn't get to know my passions, my drive. Like, I thought I had to shrink myself in order to be loved because I am a very big personality, a very big, like, I have big fucking visions for this world. I am a lot. I am too much. Like, this is a thing that is about me that I've been trying to hide for so fucking long because I thought it made me unlovable. And I'm realizing now more than ever that when I love these parts of me, that's all I wanted. I want someone to love my too muchness, but that had nothing to do with anyone outside of myself. It has always been, I need to accept this. And yes, will I be wildly misunderstood by majority of people? 1,000%. Has it been really fucking hard because I really like to be liked and my ego wants that? Yeah. But the people that do love me, I can now receive their love.
Yeah.
And I have not had that. Like, I was so good at being liked, and this year's the first time I can feel the love of my friendships. I can feel the love of the things just around me, that type of energy, because it's not about what I'm doing. It's genuinely who I am. And being able to receive that has changed everything for me.
I have chills as you're saying that. And thank you. Thank you for giving me the privilege of getting to see you. And I'm excited, even just in our relationship, to continue to see all the other sides, come forth. And it's a blessing and an honor to see you stretch through that part that is so uncomfortable around being misunderstood and
Yeah.
people not getting it and like not going for being liked, you know? And center in to what it really means to be truly loved. And like, you know, one of my questions, I'll give it away right now, is like in the moments where you've wanted to collapse, why do you feel like you kept going? Like, why do you feel like God put that in your path? And one thing that I hope as somebody who loves you really is you put, such a beautiful visual with this of like having your floaties on and then just letting your body kind of sink. And my greatest hope is that as a friend, you've been able to feel just the love and support that's around you, like that truly has you no matter what. You know, not only within yourself, not only within your connection to source, but also in the people around you who so deeply, so deeply love you. And I love you.
I love you. And I
Mm-hmm.
do. And that is it. It's always, I have ever since that moment where, and I don't think I've even shared this much on the podcast, but earlier this year, like I had a knees on the floor, almost like I wanted to die moment. Like I didn't want to fucking be here anymore, but I also knew that was the trick my brain was playing. So I reached out to Steph and I reached out to Marina, who was my best friend, and I stayed at Marina's house because I was like, my brain's fucked up right now. Like it is so dark, and I don't actually want that, but that's the story that I'm telling myself right now. And in that moment, that was it. It was just like, I want to feel what love is. Like, but like really, because I'm in the pits of my heartbreak right now. And like the fact that I've gone through so many heartbreaks, I've gone through so many, like these types of things. And the reason I felt that I was going through those is because I couldn't receive good people's love. I couldn't feel it. Like I knew people were saying it and I knew this kind of stuff, but because I didn't actually have love for who I genuinely was, I was performing in so many different ways, and it wasn't that it was even fake. Like I didn't even know I was doing it. It was just so many survival mechanisms and so many protectors, and that's what protectors do. And it wasn't until the moment he's on the floor being like, I have nothing else left, like there's nothing left. And then the car accident happened, and I was like, now I have to be able to receive, because I can't do a lot of things on my own right now, and I didn't know what to do, and my ego had to die. And it was those types of things where it was like God would just keep knocking me down had I not surrendered. And it was one of those things of just like, just feel love, like just genuinely feel love for just, you don't have to do shit. Like you genuinely don't have to do anything. You just have to be there. And it's a thing I'm still walking through, where it's like, am I being a bad friend? Am I taking too much? Am I doing these things? Like I'm constantly assessing these things, but it's like, yeah, sometimes you are being selfish. Sometimes you are doing it. Like it's okay, but you're still lovable. You are still lovable, even if you are. Like it's okay. And that part is just continually unraveling that.
Yeah, like there's a safety in it.
Yeah.
Of
What would
like,
you say for that one for yourself? I have to grab my charger for a second.
like in the moments that I wanted to collapse, why do I feel like God put that in my path?
Yeah.
It still finds your face. Laura, for anyone who's not watching the video, Laura's camera is doing that weird like face zoom thing where it'll find her face and then randomly zoom in. And she's like in a corner of her apartment and it has found her face. I am so terrified for the future of our society. They can track us everywhere. Oh, okay. She's back. So, like, what do I feel? Ask me the question.
What do you feel is the knees on the floor moment? Like you're fucking in it. Why did you keep going?
What's interesting is that I feel as though this year has held so much discomfort, yet I can't remember because I've had those moments in my life where I was like, all right, like I'm kind of done with this. I don't want to be here any longer. And that's, one of the things that Laura and I bonded on first in our relationship when we were like,
It is.
hey, your mind's intense, my mind's intense, cool.
That's why we started Unplugged.
That's honestly where it came from. Is like, we don't talk about the underbelly of the high achiever mind. And so while I've had those moments before in my life, like knees on the ground, like I don't know if I can keep going. This year has been so wildly interesting because it's held so much discomfort and situations that I wasn't that weren't in my ego's mind my own choice, but it's a choice that my soul made. For example, moving out here, living a different lifestyle. For a while, we were living in community with a couple that Nolan was running a business with, and that was really intense and held a lot of, discomfort as somebody who's used to being in my own space a lot of the time, questioning identity, questioning who I am, what I talk about, and exploring on a deeper level. All of those things have been very, uncomfortable and very beautiful at the same time. So I don't feel like I've had like a knees on the floor moment, but a lot of prolonged discomfort and discovery. And why do I want to also say that I've been so blessed is that I've been so supported this year, just like the love, and especially in my friendships, I think that that's one of the biggest things that I felt this year of like every single one of the friends in my life for the first time, I think ever in my life, I know have my back no matter what, and it's like I could count them on one hand, but damn, it's like they're people I'd walk through the fire with. And I also feel that way in my relationship where there's so much love and there's so much growth. There's that feeling of just like we're in this together, and it's so safe to explore these edges of my mind that for the first time I don't feel completely alone in all of it, and that in and of itself is like you're safe to let go, like you're safe to explore all different sides of yourself. And is this making sense, or am I speaking in themes? Yeah, okay, great.
Yeah, no.
And now I lost my train of thought. But really just being safe to get to explore. And as I'm speaking, I'm kind of coming to what do I feel like God has put that in my path for? As I'm feeling it, it's like the safety to come out of survival. There are points now that I'm remembering, there are points throughout the spring and the summer when I was really first starting to feel it, where I remember FaceTiming you and being like, I've never been so relaxed in my life. I've never felt this sense of like, oh my gosh, like I'm so content with who I am and my life and where we are. I had never felt that. I feel like every single day of my life before really this year was gotta get up, gotta go do, gotta, what's the next thing, what's the next thing, what's the next thing, constantly holding myself to such a high standard and being very mean to myself on the other side, just feeling this constant low level of what I should be doing or that it should be better, this low level of God, I don't want to fuck it up, or I just fucked it up. And that was a lot of the fuel to my success and to the things that I was creating in the world. And this year, through the discomfort that's also been buffered by the safety, I feel like for the first time, God has shown me what it feels like to not fully be in survival and to create from this space of like, you're on purpose just because you exist. So how do you want to do it? Like, how do you want to do it? That's been the real big question is like, so how do you want to do it? And I think there's a few different, I feel like I'm going on a few different tangents with all of that. So I think this is a question that's still like percolating and integrating in my system. That's what I got for right now.
I feel like you hit it on the head though with the last point. Like, you're learning to be safe and you're learning to feel the support. And I think a lot of any high achiever, which is why we started this podcast, this fucking thing, is
to know that you're so loved.
To know that you're safe, that you don't have to survive, that someone can come in and support you. And, you can be safe in your income. You can be safe with a man. You can be safe in your body. Like, it's
safe
just
in your house. Now I'm realizing that.
Yeah, like you can be safe in your relationship and set new boundaries and set new standards and set new, relationship dynamics and all the kind of things. Is like there's just a new level of safety that I think, because we're so used to living in our amygdala for so long, we don't even know how to do it. I told you when I finally hit my income, I was like, oh my God.
Like you wanted to sleep.
I slept so hard for weeks. It was like I was in bed by 2 p.m. I was like, we're done. Like, we're out. Like, a lot of people are like, we'd be celebrating. And I thought it would be that type of way. And I was like, I have a good man. I have really good friendships. I have income, and like I have consistent income. Like it's not even just income spikes. I was like, I completely changed the next monthly revenue for X amount of months, and I was like, I need a nap. It's been a long 6 years. Like it was just like that kind of thing where it's like, oh,
And
like
that's, you know, as you're saying it back to me, projector moment, it's like it really is safety where I cannot tell you the amount of sleep that I've had this year. One of the biggest things I remember really witnessing over the summer, as like it was really sinking in that like, okay, we're here, you know, in Connecticut and just building a house, as I recognize how growing up, my house was never like it was never fully happy. It was never fully relaxed. There was so much tension in my house growing up. My parents were doing the best that they knew. I don't fault them with any of it because it was my own soul's growth. But I realized, and I grieved this for a while, on how much I told myself like my childhood was like totally fine. We lived this like perfect life. And deep down, it's like I never felt safe at home. And, you know, living in our house, and especially now that it's Nolan and I, like there's a safety of like, I'm here, you know, and it's safe. And Nolan is the most incredible human who's like, I just want to take care of you. And like, this is your home too, you know, and like building it, the amount of sleep that I've had, like the amount of that, like gooey, like, yeah, like safe to explore, safe to do nothing on some days, like really getting into like that feminine core after being driven by like my own mind for so many years is something I'm still kind of coming to grips with, of like, oh, okay, so now we're like for I think for a while it was like, let's fully surrender into this safety, and now it's like, okay, how do we create from a safe place? That's a different feeling. That's a much different feeling, you know, and having safety and security in my relationship where Nolan's the most incredible and loyal human, and there's so much love, and we can walk through and have tough conversations, and we're both in it. You know, we've committed as a team, you know, that's our intention, is to be a team in every single situation that we have. So it's like, I'm not threatened that if I bring something up, something will happen. Like, we're just not in that stage in our relationship. And that safety and security in my friendships, walking through tough conversations and coming out on the other side. You know, there's just these different pillars of safety that have, now that I'm realizing this, this is a fun little reflection exercise.
I love this.
Got some stuff to journal through tonight of like really recognizing how that's fundamentally changed who I am and how I create, and the safety in my body to even think about, you know, having kids one day, you know, and I talk about that like it's around the corner. It's not around the corner, y'all. Who knows?
I know. I was like, God has plans. God has plans that we don't know about.
But you know, it's just that was always one of my biggest desires as a kid, you know, and yeah. So we'll see.
I love that.
Okay. Oh, here we go. What is a new side of yourself that you've gotten a glimpse of this year? Maybe hasn't like fully activated or integrated, but you've gotten a glimpse of, and you want more of it in 2024.
I really, the first thing that comes fresh is like being submissive to my man. Like, not that I even like have a man, but like to men in general, where like I submit. I am not in controlling. I don't need to plan things. I am like I just trust. Like I'm just like here, and like I have trusted their leadership a lot, where it's like if they're busy and they're not texting me and they choose work first and we have to have a later date, like old me, I can think back to old relationship is like, I'm fighting that. Like, why isn't the relationship first? Why aren't you putting me first? Like my ego needing to be loved in all these kind of ways. And I really loved just of being a girl. Like I love just like, yeah, like do the things and like being a partner to someone versus how can I protect my triggers, which is how my relationship pattern had been, is like, well, I've been through all this fucking shit, so you have to treat me in a certain way, plus I'm a fucking quote unquote queen, like I'm the woman, so you have to treat me in this way, versus like
entitlement.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, actually, I'm in my pre-housewife era, and how can I better support you so that you can lead the household? Because I don't fucking want to. Like,
That's
and like
exactly it.
really learning this part of the male psyche and my own psyche has been, I love it. Like, I love it so much. I don't want to be the breadwinner. I don't like, not that I don't think I'm going to make fuck ton of money and like still be, but like breadwinner to me means like you're dominating. I'm like, no, I'm going to work like 3 days and you make more money with it because you understand stock markets and you understand the things, and that's what I want you to do. So yes, I can make fun tokens, but you're going to make the actual fun tokens. Like, there's a whole thing where I'm just like, I love being a girl. And I have said I wanted to be feminine for so long. And I feel like, yes, I still have my masculinity. And that could be another one also. But like, I have my femininity and like, I truly do feel it because I feel so safe. Like, I just like genuinely in the presence of Viking. It's one of the things where I'm just like, I actually feel very safe. I was gonna say Pierre, just
I
out
was
of
gonna say
funniness.
Pierre.
I was gonna be like
I
Pierre.
somehow have a code name because I'm terrible with first names.
Yeah,
Code
I
name
think let's
for
just, but like it's one of those things, whether it works or whether it doesn't, it's just a thing where I'm like, it feels so nice to just like
Mm,
trust you
yeah.
to make decisions for us, and like I don't have to think and I can just be a girl. And at the same time, my other part of this was like, I feel really strong in my masculine now because I had a lot of
Mm,
PTSD from my previous business with my masculine of like, I can't be masculine and loved. Therefore, I shut it down for the last 3 years I've been in America.
yeah.
And it really slowed my business. It really like made me feel like I was too much. And I feel like now I'm like, I am too much and I have structures and I have systems and I have these things and I am a very masculine person. But like when it comes to relationship, I'm feminine. But like when it comes to the rest of my life, I am a masculine person and like not shaming that part of myself. And yeah, those two.
I love that. I love all
I'm
these
curious
sides
about
of
yours, but I don't want to keep saying me too. Like,
ask me back. I
I
asked
know.
you
I'm
back for
like,
you to ask me back.
I know. I'm like, I like that though.
I have an answer for it.
Do
I
it.
would say the side of myself, and this is recent, the side of myself, as it should be heading into 2024, is like the wild child, is what I call her.
Mhm.
You know, it's like there's a part of my 5-year-old self, and I'm looking at a picture of her sitting over there that, you know, I realize, especially, you know, having family things come to light over Thanksgiving and really moving through a huge pattern, that, you know, those moments where you see a pattern and you can't unsee it and you're like,
Mhm.
oh, this actually changes my perception of a lot of different things. And for me, that was how, you know, my family will tell me this. They were like, Steph, you came into this world with big energy. You want to do everything yourself. They used to call me Destructo Child because I would just like take things apart. And like our next door neighbor thought I was a boy because I was so loud. And like I would always want to have fashion shows and like make up these dances and shake my hips and be sexy. And then they'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? You know, like I just had all of this energy and I wanted to love and touch and hug and I wasn't afraid of people and just like all of this, and I wanted to do it my way. And I recognize, and my parents and I will have very transparent conversations around this where they were like, yeah, that was a lot for us. Like that was
Mhm.
triggering in its own way. And I realized, and something I've uncovered was just how much I have um, tried to put that little girl, that part of me, in a box, you know, for so much of my life. And I talk about this on the podcast, but I have what I call like the show pony side of myself,
Mhm.
which is the part that, you know, dresses perfectly, shows up perfectly, speaks perfectly, can be anyone's anything and walk into a room and own it. And that's gotten me really far in my life, but it's not truth. You know, it's like this confined version of myself going back to the perfectionist that like needs to be in a box. And I
Mhm.
feel like for the first time, I'm starting to get a glimpse of that truth, you know, honestly, just even through hearing stories about myself and then feeling it in my own body of the resonance of like, yeah, you know, there is a lot to me. I am loud. I do have big ideas. I do want to see it a certain way. I do have a systems brain. Like, I do think I can do it myself, you know? Like, I love that side of myself. And what's taken its place for many years was like the victim, was like, oh, well, that bigness isn't going to get me attention. So what if I try the victim? You know, maybe I'll be safe then. Maybe I'll be taken care of then, because being in my bigness, you know, gets me forgotten, or, you know, whatever I perceived it as a kid. What's happening in your brain?
Damn.
You know?
Yeah.
Victim, then I won't be forgotten.
That's
That was my
so
hope.
I just was having this breakthrough with Marina over the weekend. Honestly, it was one of those things where I was like, you know what, I realized my anxious attachment, like I need to be chaos, is because that's how I keep connection when love is a little distant. So I need to create some type of tension. I need to I need to be destructo, blah, blah, blah. Like this is the only way you can pay attention to me, because then we can fight, and then we can, you know, then you love me, right? Versus good can go to great, and there doesn't need to be victim. Like you can just be. But you said it a lot more eloquently, and my brain was like, whoa, and like my body like zipped up. It was like that's it.
I love this. This is why this is fun.
This is why we do this late at night.
Oh my god, we're gonna get like slap happy in a second.
Oh,
But
1,000%.
yeah, like I mean, yours is fight and chaos, and mine's victim. So like I would find myself getting sick, or like an eating disorder, basically withering away to nothing, so that people would be worried about me. Now, consciously, that wasn't what I thought I was doing. It was much different. But if I look at the deeper pattern, it's like, oh well, I'm not safe. Like I trigger people, you know, if I want to use those terms. Like I trigger people when I'm in all of my bigness. Or people can misinterpret it or be misunderstood. As a kid, I interpreted that for lack of love. And therefore, oh, well, let's try being a victim. Let's try being weak. Let's try, you know, finding some way to manipulate that love as a kid, you know? And so I've started to get this glimpse of like, oh shit, like when I'm not a victim, and this has been a really big journey with my body this year, is like I've gotten sick a few times, but I've actually been healthier this year than I have in a very long time, and really starting to reprogram like I'm still loved even when I'm in all of my bigness. I'm still loved as a wild child. I'm still loved when I trigger the fuck out of someone because I'm too loud. I'm still loved when I'm confident. I'm still taken care of when I have my shit together. Like all of that, it's like I don't have to be a victim to be taken care of. And Nolan's been such a beautiful representation of that, of me like finding these moments where I am in my bigness, and he still looks at me and wants to take care of me. And he still looks at me with so much love. It's like, oh wait, you know, I'm not forgotten. And you know, as the kid who I was always the one who was like fine, you know, because I had my shit together on some level. I knew how to work in the world, and I just wanted love. I just wanted to be protected too. So, wild child. We'll see what that actually means. I just feel like it's the bigness and the owning that, you know.
Yeah.
Owning it, owning my confidence, owning.
I'm so excited to see what that brings for you for
Me
2024. Like, especially with the transitions that you're going through, like all of that. I'm like, I'm ready. I mean, you did message me that. You're like, this is my unhinged. This is what I was like, fuck yeah, let's go. Because like everything you're saying, I'm like, yeah, like that I feel resonates so deeply with that, where you're like, just fucking love me for who I am and all of it. And like be in awe. And like let me turn the volume all the way up and like show the world that this is okay. And I know that is a thing where it's like without processing, like just like do it. And it's just like, oh my God, I'm excited for you.
I'm so excited. It's like one of those moments where it's a jumping off point where when I started to recognize this, I'm like, oh shit. Like, what does the universe have in store for me this year? Because this is a big one. And I'm excited to just express in different ways and bring in that side of myself that I feel like I had so much fun with when I was modeling, of like just getting to express different sides and all of that. So that's that. That's that.
You love it.
Cool.
Do we want to keep going, or are we complete? Because it's been an hour and 12 minutes.
But it has been
bananas.
That has been that. I feel like that was a really good last deep question to end on. And we could do a fun one.
A fun one to end on?
Yeah, let's do another fun one. Like a quick fun. How would you describe 2023 in an ice cream flavor? Go.
Cookie two-step. Because it's my favorite ice cream.
What is cookie two-step?
It's Bluebells, and it's the best cookie. It's the best ice cream. Well, you can't have it. It's dairy.
That's okay. Like,
Sorry.
describe it.
It's like cookies and cream meet cookie dough chunks in it, and it's my favorite thing. And it's Bluebells, so it's like clean ingredients, and I love it. And that's why I stay thick. That's why I got a thick ass. Literally, me in the gym going, yeah, look at that booty. I came running into Marina's house. I ran up the stairs. It was like the first Monday of December, and I was like, it's the last first Monday of the year. Ran into her house, and I was like, and I'm gonna come into the new year with the best ass. And she's like, it's like 9 a.m. Please leave.
I love that about you.
Anyway. What ice cream flavor? No. What?
I have an answer for that. You can ask me it back.
I know, but I want to ask you a different flavor.
Okay, well, my flavor would.
What beverage would you make 2023?
Damn it. I had a good answer for the ice cream.
I know, that's why I wanted to cut you off.
I guess. Beverage? I would honestly. I'm gonna like spin off of my chocolate. I just gave it away. My ice cream
It's gonna be cacao.
Getting late. Yes. Be like a really wonderful, rich cacao with like coconut milk and a little touch of maple syrup, maybe some collagen in there, and like a whole bunch of cacao. Like a really good cacao would be because it's like simultaneously euphoric and rich and deep and velvety and luxurious and yeah, I don't know. That just came to my mind.
Sounds like a great. She got me into cacao.
Did
That's
you know
great.
I'm making cacao with like bone broth now? This is like the new thing.
Oh, I used to put bone broth in everything.
I cannot imagine it in cacao, but allegedly.
I used to put it in all my smoothies. I used to put Ancient Nutrition, bone broth, vanilla protein. It was my favorite, but you gotta put it in after because if you put it in before, it'll blow it up. No, it's bone broth. Bone broth
protein. But people are putting like actual liquid bone broth in their cacao. And I'm just like, I'm
hard no.
I'm totally open. I will try anything once, but
I'll try anything 3 times. That's my rule. Because the first time is a given, is a maybe. Second time is you're already projecting from the first time, and third time is gonna be an honest try.
Laura's philosophy on life.
These are my philosophies. I'm not gonna use this video because I look horrendous. Not happening.
You look phenomenal.
It's just zooming in. It's like we want the close up. I'm like,
honestly though, have you seen that filter on TikTok? The
what?
one that makes you look old?
No.
Well, I'm gonna send it to you after this, and it basically shows you aging, and it is so terrifying, but also kind of exciting because I look like my grandma, and I love looking like my grandma.
I'm excited, except I don't know. We were actually having this discussion last night at dinner because I was like, I want to play with like more Botox, and I want to get my lips done, and I want to do all this stuff so that when I'm old, I can just age gracefully. But like, I do want to try modern science.
Fair.
So we'll see.
I'm excited for your journey with that in 2024.
I'm gonna walk out and be plastic. Not that there's any problem with it, but like,
I'll let you know if it gets too much. Like, I'll give you my honest feedback.
Honestly, I just want to see what it's like to have an upper lip. I just don't have one, so I'm just curious what we do up there.
Just want to have that experience in life.
Yeah, I just want to have it once. Yeah, I don't have it.
That's oh my god! I would have never noticed that though. See, the things that you notice about yourself.
I usually put lipstick on it. Like, I just want lips that when the lipsticks look like it.
You're gonna have me looking at my own face. The only thing I would do is in my jaw for TMJ.
Oh yeah. Anyways, guys, stay tuned for what we look like next season.
We both come back with facelifts, just completely different. We're like, on this episode of Botch.
Do you know I have my ears pinned back? That's the only plastic surgery I had.
Oh my gosh.
They used to be like this.
That's so cute. I wish they were still like that. I mean, but I like your ears now.
No, I don't wish they looked like this. I got bullied and called a monkey, which I do look like a monkey. So I'm pinned back. And now I'm cute.
So on that note, y'all.
Yep.
Happy
Make
New
sure you
Year.
subscribe to the channels, all the
of
things.
podcast
We'll
channel.
put it all in the show notes. Find us on Instagram. Mine is it's Laura Patricia Martin.
And at Stephanie Elsperman.
Like, subscribe, review. We got episodes all the time.
Watch out for the reality TV series coming in 2024.
Called Get In or Get Out.
We need to go to bed. Mwah. Love you guys. All right, chickadees, that is the podcast episode that I have for you all today. I hope that something has landed with you, whether you just felt like you were hanging out with two girlfriends, whether it inspired you to reflect on your own year, or whether something we said really landed and created a micro shift for you within your life. I hope that it leads you to feel even more fully alive, not only in 2023, but also headed into 2024. So I hope you have the most phenomenal New Year's, that it's filled with celebration or nourishment or whatever it is that you desire. Nolan and I think we're going to be in Florida in New Year's. We're going to be spending some time. Actually, I'm ringing in the new year with Laura Patricia Martin. I forgot. We just made plans on that yesterday. But anyways, I hope you all have a phenomenal rest of your year, and I will see you in 2024. Thanks for being here, and I'm so beyond grateful for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mwah! See you there.